Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Talk Smart English. In this podcast, I am your host, Laiba. Today, we are going to talk about a very important topic for English learners. The topic is stop translating in your mind. Let's move to the video now. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more learning content.
Many people study English for years, but they still feel nervous when they speak. Do you know why? One big reason is that they first think in their own language, and then they translate everything into English. This habit makes speaking slow, difficult, and stressful. Maybe this also happens to you. For example, someone asks you a simple question in English, but before answering, your brain starts translating every word. Because of this, you take long pauses, feel confused, and sometimes forget what to say. But don't worry. In today's podcast, I will explain why translating in your mind is a problem, how it affects your English speaking, and most importantly, how you can stop doing it step by step. I will also share some easy daily exercises that can help you think directly in English. These tips are simple, practical, and perfect for beginners and intermediate learners. Remember one thing: you do not need perfect grammar to speak English confidently. You only need practice, patience, and the right method. So relax, stay with me until the end, and let's learn together how to train your brain to think in English naturally. Now, let's begin today's topic. Before we learn how to stop translating in our minds, first we need to understand what it really means. Translating in your mind means that when you want to speak English, your brain first creates the sentence in your own language. Then after that, you try to change the sentence into English. This process happens very quickly, but it still creates problems. For example, imagine you want to say, "I am hungry," but inside your mind, you first think about the sentence in your native language. Then you search for the English words. Then you try to arrange the grammar correctly. All of this happens before you even open your mouth. That is why many learners speak very slowly. Sometimes learners know many English words, but they still cannot speak fluently. The problem is not vocabulary. The real problem is over-translating. Let's take another example. If someone asks you, "What did you do today?" Instead of answering naturally, your brain may start doing this. First, think in your own language. Translate word by word. Check grammar. Try to make a perfect sentence. And during this process, you become nervous or silent. This is very common among English learners. But here is something important to understand. Native English speakers do not translate when they speak. They think directly in English. When they see water, they immediately think water. They do not first think in another language and then translate it. And your goal is not only to learn English words. Your goal is to connect English words directly with ideas, feelings, actions, and objects. At first, this may feel difficult, but with regular practice, your brain can slowly learn to think in English naturally. And the good news is, anyone can train their brain to do this. Now let's talk about why translating in your mind makes English speaking slow and difficult. When you translate every sentence, your brain has to do extra work. First, it thinks in your own language. Then it searches for English words. After that, it tries to fix grammar and sentence structure. This takes time. That is why many English learners pause again and again while speaking. Sometimes you already know the answer, but you still cannot speak quickly because your mind is busy translating everything. And when conversations move fast, translating becomes even harder. For example, imagine someone asks you a simple question in English. "Where are you going?" If you start translating each word in your mind, you may become slow or confused before answering. But real conversations do not wait. People continue talking. Because of this, many learners feel nervous during English conversations. Another problem is fear. When learners translate, they often try to make perfect sentences. They worry too much about grammar mistakes. This pressure creates stress and removes confidence. As a result, speaking becomes unnatural, sentences break in the middle, and communication becomes difficult. Sometimes learners even avoid speaking English because they feel embarrassed or afraid of making mistakes. But remember this: English is not a school test. English is a tool for communication. You do not need perfect sentences every time. You only need to express your ideas clearly. Think about children learning their first language. They do not stop every second to check grammar. They simply speak naturally. The more you translate, the slower your speaking becomes. But the more you think directly in English, the faster and smoother your speaking becomes. Fluency starts when your brain stops depending on translation. Now the question is, how do you know if you are translating in your mind? Many English learners do this without even realizing it. So in this section, let's look at some common signs. The first sign is long pauses while speaking. If you stop for many seconds before answering a simple question, it may mean your brain is busy translating. For example, someone asks, "How was your day?" And before answering, you stay silent and think deeply about every word. This usually happens because you are first making the sentence in your own language. The second sign is speaking very slowly. You may know English words, but your speaking still feels heavy and slow. This happens because translation adds an extra step to every sentence. The third sign is forgetting words during conversation. Sometimes you know a word when studying alone, but during speaking practice, your mind suddenly becomes blank. This happens because your brain is trying to translate too many things at the same time. Another sign is understanding English slowly. When you listen to English, do you mentally translate every sentence into your native language? If yes, this is also part of the problem. Fast English conversations become difficult because your brain cannot translate quickly enough. One more sign is feeling tired after speaking English. Translation uses a lot of mental energy. That is why many learners feel exhausted after only a few minutes of conversation. But don't feel discouraged if these things happen to you. These signs are normal for English learners. The important thing is to recognize the problem and start improving step by step. And remember, the goal is not to become perfect overnight. The goal is to slowly train your brain to understand and speak English naturally without translating every word. Have you ever noticed that children learn languages faster than adults? Many people think children are naturally smarter at learning languages. But the real reason is something very simple. Children do not translate. When a child learns a language, they do not sit and think about grammar rules all day. They do not translate every sentence into another language. Instead, they learn by listening, watching, repeating, and practicing. For example, when a child hears the word apple, they connect the word directly with the object. They see the apple, touch the apple, and hear the word many times. Slowly, the brain creates a direct connection. Apple means the fruit. There is no translation in the middle. This is a very natural way of learning language. Children also learn through repetition. They hear simple sentences again and again. Come here. Sit down. Give me the ball. Because of repetition, their brains become familiar with the language naturally. Another important thing is that children are not afraid of mistakes. They speak even when their sentences are wrong. They keep trying every day. But many adults do the opposite. Adults often overthink grammar, fear mistakes, translate every sentence, and try to sound perfect. This creates stress and slows down learning. Children focus on communication first. Adults often focus on perfection first. And this is why children usually become fluent faster. The good news is that adults can also learn like children. You can listen more, repeat simple English daily, use short sentences, and stop worrying about being perfect. When you practice English naturally and regularly, your brain slowly starts thinking in English automatically. It may take time, but it is absolutely possible. Now let's talk about some common mistakes that English learners should avoid while trying to stop translating in their minds. The first mistake is being afraid of mistakes. Many learners stay silent because they want every sentence to be perfect. But this fear slows down learning. Remember, mistakes are a normal part of the learning process. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner. The second mistake is using very difficult grammar in the beginning. Some learners try to speak advanced English too early. Because of this, they become confused and start translating every word again. Simple English is powerful English. short and clear sentences are much better than long and complicated sentences. Another mistake is memorizing too many words together. Learning hundreds of words without practice can make your brain overloaded. Instead, learn a few useful words and use them in daily speaking. One more important mistake is comparing yourself with others. Everyone learns at a different speed. Some people improve quickly and some need more time. Do not lose confidence because of other people's progress. Focus on your own journey and keep practicing daily. And finally, do not give up too early. Thinking in English is a skill. Like every skill, it improves with regular practice and patience. Little by little, your mind will become faster, more confident, and more natural in English. Now we are almost at the end of today's podcast. Let's talk about something very important: motivation. Learning English is not a one-day process. It is a journey that takes time, practice, and patience. If you are still translating in your mind, don't feel bad. This is normal for every learner at the beginning. Even fluent speakers were once in your position. The most important thing is consistency. If you practice a little every day, your brain will slowly start changing. One day, you will notice that you are thinking in English without even trying. That is the real moment of fluency. So keep it simple. Speak a little every day. Think in short English sentences. Listen to English daily and do not be afraid of mistakes. Remember, improvement is not always fast, but it is always happening. Even small steps matter. So believe in yourself, stay patient, and continue your journey. You are closer to fluency than you think. And now we come to the end of today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening and staying with me until the end. I hope this topic helped you understand how to stop translating in your mind and start thinking in English more naturally. Now it's your turn to practice. Start using these simple steps every day, even if it is just for a few minutes. Remember, small practice every day brings big results over time. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more English learning content. This is your host, Liba, signing off. Don't forget like, share, and subscribe. Talk Smart English. See you in the next episode. Goodbye and take care.